Almost 20 years had passed since the conclusion of the Fourth Ninja War, and the Hidden Leaf Village had solidified its leadership among the great shinobi villages, ushering in a new modern age with the leaf at its center. The Hokage, Naruto Uzumaki, led the coalition of the Five Great Shinobi Powers. However, it was not dominance he sought to project, but a relationship of equal partnership that he had been striving for. A continuous shift of authority away from the feudal lords in favor of the ninja villages had occurred. The Kages were now the de facto leaders of their respective nations. The Hokage reigned over the Fire Country and its surrounding cities and villages, as did the Mizukage in the Water Nation. This new great alliance endured considerable setbacks, but remarkable cooperation prevailed. A coup in the Sand Village, a 4-year occupation in the Land of Waves. Still, the greatest challenge remained the political instability in the Earth Country. Decades of separatist ambitions in the northern towns, coupled with the ever-encroaching authority of the Hidden Rock Village, had spread discontent throughout the nation, including open rebellion within the 13,000-strong Rock Army. Other villages cooperated in stabilizing the Rock's rule over its forces and country by sending material support and boots on the ground. Yet, as difficult as civil war can be, the true threat to stability in the area was the obscure Land of Grass. Not much was known about this region, where secrecy and deception were daily practices. Claiming to be founded by Senju renegades who rejected forming a settlement with their arch-rivals, the Uchiha, the Grass Village, remained isolated from the world. Huge fortifications and walls surrounded the country, and the entrance of foreigners was not permitted, leaving this area a mystery to everyone. Despite being detached from normal relations, the Grass Village still played a role in political affairs. A Cold War, waged through espionage and concealment, had revealed the true threat of the Grass Village to the new Shinobi Alliance. Displeased with their small size, surrounded by enemies on all sides, and lacking both a sea connection and plentiful arable land, the Grass Village felt relegated as a minor player, unworthy of their Senju heritage. The Allied coalition was wary that the Grass had been preparing for conflict for decades. Spies informed the Shinobi Alliance that the Grass Village was not a mere pushover like other minor cities. Its army was sizable and could be a considerable threat if ignored. The Hokage consistently pushed for good diplomatic relations, with moderate success, but not every leader shared his vision. For instance, the Kazakage and others were keen on pressuring the Grass to assimilate into the new shinobi system, even if it meant using force. Leaked information revealed that the Grass had used covert operations to destabilize the region, such as supporting Jashin religious fanatics in their rebellion in the north. The alliance deployed 2 armies to the frontier as a show of strength. Yet diplomatic channels remained open despite secret plans, hinting at a possible Grass offensive against the Rock Village. Within this tense environment, the Rock Village was paranoid about internal rebellions and wary of a Grass strike if weakened by internal disputes. Relations soured when the old king of the Grass, who had established cordial ties with Naruto, disappeared, and a new youthful ruler emerged. Kawaki Senju. Intelligent and charismatic, Kawaki possessed the rare wood-style Kekkei Genkai. His rapid rise to power was shrouded in mystery, making his backstory and character enigmatic. Kawaki recognized that the Rock and Sand were key coalition members eager to pressure his kingdom into submission. Believing in Grass expansionism, he issued initial secret orders for military mobilization while maintaining diplomatic channels with the Hokage. As open rebellion spread, the Rock moved forces throughout the country to quell insubordination, but their primary concern was their southern border, exposed to the grass. They maintained a sizable army there. With the support of the sand and minor villages, the Tsuchikage convinced the shinobi coalition to send more troops to the area to deter further aggression, perceiving the grass as a hostile actor. After a series of terrorist attacks in the 5 villages, tensions quickly escalated. Though the culprit was unknown, many blamed the grass due to their history of covert operations. The crisis spiraled out of control, and while total war seemed unlikely, both sides prepared for every eventuality. Faulty intelligence pointed to aggressors on both sides, and small skirmishes along the border heightened tensions. As King Kawaki debated with the High Council, the shadow of his predecessor's paranoia loomed large. Convinced that war was imminent, he believed a compromise would fail to achieve any party's ultimate goals, leading the grass leadership to conclude that war was the only path forward. The grass country, smaller in size and population compared to the great villages, faced an uphill battle. Recognizing this disparity, the Grass Army High Command had embarked on extensive reforms for decades. Rigorous individual training and preparation meant that while the average grass shinobi might not match the strength of his leaf counterpart, he excelled in unit combat. The reforms honed the army's structure into a finely tuned machine, compensating for their numerical disadvantage with superior organization and tactical efficiency. As Kawaki searched for inspiration to face the impending conflict, covert mobilization efforts were underway to prepare the army. The aim was to have his forces ready before the allied shinobi amassed greater numbers. To bolster their ranks, the Grass accepted numerous renegade shinobi, increasing their numbers from 5,000 to 8,000. Kawaki had a formidable tool at his disposal, but he knew his strike had to be lethal. Any failure to achieve a swift victory would lead to defeat as the overwhelming numbers of the alliance fully mobilized. He pored over old plans from his predecessors, uncertain of the next step. The consensus was that the greatest threat lay to the east, but the Rock was considered the easiest rival to defeat. As mobilization commenced, Kawaki revealed his strategy to his marshals and generals. The Senju had 5 armies already deployed, their numbers increasing daily. The plan involved deploying a substantial force against the Rock to neutralize the main allied forces in the west, as the coalition in the east were not fully prepared, and thus it would take a few days for them to be considered a threat. The primary objective was to avoid a two-front conflict at all costs. Once that sector was secured, the Grass forces would redeploy to the east to confront the 3 massive allied army groups head-on. As skirmishes intensified on all fronts, the Grass forces made final preparations for the main offensive on the west. For now, Naruto strove tirelessly to seek a diplomatic solution, aiming to prevent a full-scale war. However, Kawaki, resolute in his expansionist ambitions, launched his main offensive against the Rock Village, hoping to secure a swift and decisive victory before the allied shinobi forces could fully mobilize. On the early morning of June 4th, the Army of the East, as Kawaki had titled it, surged forward. 3 army corps shattered the enemy's thin advance lines and advanced in unison to engage the main Rock forces. Light ninja brigades scouted ahead, wiping out scattered enemy units, and finally brought the Senju forces into direct contact with their adversaries. These light ninja brigades provided the Grass with a significant advantage. Their superior reconnaissance skills kept the enemy in the dark about the main army's movements. The Grass forces' strategic maneuvers and the element of surprise created confusion on the Rock's leadership. On the Grass's right wing, II Corps, led by Kawaki's biggest political rival, sent a regiment forward with a strong artillery detachment. This maneuver was designed to deceive the Rock into believing that the main effort was a flanking attack on the right. Simultaneously, on the left flank, the same tactic was employed. A regiment spread in a wide skirmishing line to probe the enemy. These early encounters were small-scale skirmishes involving no more than 25 ninjas at a time. Shinobis relied on medium to long-range ninjutsus, pulling back before engaging in hand-to-hand combat and inflicting further casualties. The Rock, perceiving a threat, decided to concentrate its main army on the road heading to their village. They ordered their second army to retreat to avoid being outflanked. Kawaki, observing the gap in the middle, commanded II Corps' cavalry brigade and an infantry battle group to pressure the enemy center, complicating any concentration efforts. The Rock recognized the danger of a powerful push through the separation between its two forces, potentially isolating them, and thus sent additional forces to strengthen the corridor. However, this decision weakened their army defending the crossroads. The Rock believed their fortifications and perceived superiority would secure their positions. Seizing the moment, Kawaki, who had conserved most of I Corps and his tactical reserves, gave the order to advance. The grass had a numerical advantage in this part of the front. Before launching the assault, the Senju hammered the enemy with long-range jutsus and artillery. Once the enemy lines were softened, a special company of summoning specialists launched forward, backed by the full might of the Eastern Army. The Rock quickly lost their position and retreated in disorder, suffering heavy casualties. Rather than advancing directly to the Rock village, Kawaki chose to continue attacking the Allied army. He saw an opportunity for a complete encirclement of the enemy forces, but knew that achieving this would require more reinforcements and time. Thus he maintained frontal pressure, keeping the threat of encirclement open. Once he saw the Rock army severely punished, he ordered his forces to stop and disengage. Kawaki's marshals were stunned by this decision. It seemed almost certain that with a few more reinforcements and time, they could have annihilated the enemy and opened the road to conquer the coastal city of Aizu, and then later to besiege the Rock village. Yet Kawaki's strategic foresight led him to hold back, ensuring that his forces remained intact for the battles yet to come. His eastern flank was neutralized for a period, and before achieving any of the obvious goals at hand, the objectives showcased on the leaked plans, the King of the Grass ordered a sizable part of the Army of the East to redeploy to the west. This victory symbolized the unmatched superiority of the Grass Army's organization and leadership. Under Kawaki's exceptional command, they demonstrated that brilliance in strategy and execution could triumph over sheer numbers. His foresight, restraint, and decisive maneuvers turned the tide of battle, showcasing the true strength of the Grass Army. Kawaki's performance as a leader not only solidified their dominance in this engagement, but also set a new standard for military excellence, proving that under his guidance, even a smaller force could achieve monumental victories. Long before the conflict ignited, the Rock foresaw the necessity of a defensive stance. Intelligence revealed the Grass's intent, an eastern offensive while retreating to their western fortifications against a formidable, three-pronged Allied invasion. With insufficient forces for a robust wide-front defense, the Tsuchikage strategically deployed a big army to block the main crossroads that connected the roads to the village and the long path to the sea, while a secondary force guarded a small route to coast. A reserve force was positioned further back, ready to be deployed if necessary. Furthermore, a sizable garrison. The Allies brimmed with confidence, having obtained a copy of the Grass's strategy through espionage. They believed the enemy lacked sufficient troops to sustain a significant eastern offensive while defending their western flank. However, they were unprepared for the Grass's earlier than anticipated assault, executed with unprecedented speed and maneuverability. The Western allies could not launch their attack to relieve pressure on the rock, granting the Grass the liberty to concentrate their forces in the east. The defeat in the east was devastating, though not absolute. Despite heavy casualties, the rock forces managed a strategic retreat to their village. The allies faced a severe setback, a consequence of faulty intelligence, overconfidence in their capabilities, and an overestimation of their numerical superiority. With the rock village within reach, Kawaki made an unexpected pivot to the west, disregarding the previously leaked plans that emphasized the east. This maneuver was not the act of a madman, but a calculated step in a brilliant plan designed to shock and overwhelm their enemies. The true genius of Kawaki's strategy would soon reveal itself, altering the course of the war in ways the Allies had never anticipated.